Alright, today we're going to dive into something really cool. It's a kind of spiritual equation that flips a basic rule of math on its head, and in doing so it unlocks a much deeper truth about our purpose and, get this, how we can tackle problems that seem completely impossible.
So let's just jump right in with the question that seems so simple, almost like a trick question, right? From the moment we could count, we've known that 1 + 1 = 2. It's the foundation of everything. But what if I told you that's just one way to see it? What if there's another answer?
And this is our starting point, this incredible piece of wisdom. Now, obviously, this isn't a math problem you'd find in a textbook. It's a principle. It's saying that when two people who share the same purpose come together, their power isn't just added, it's magnified, it's amplified. But how does that actually work? How do 2 become 11? Well, to really get this, you gotta switch your brain from thinking about simple adding to thinking about place value. Think about the number 11. It's made of 2 ones, right? A 1 and another 1. But they aren't the same. The 1 on the right is in the unit spot. It's just worth 1. But the 1 on the left, that's in the tens spot. Its value is 10.
And that's the absolute key right there. When one person stands by and supports another, they literally elevate them. They shift them from that units column over to the tens column. So suddenly, you don't just have double the strength, you have a combined force that's way more powerful. That's the beautiful math of synergy. It's not 1 + 1, it's 1 standing next to 1.
Okay, so that's the theory. But let's look at how this plays out in one of the most amazing problem-solving stories ever told. The story of Prophet Yusuf in Egypt. And believe it or not, it all kicks off with a dream.
So picture this. The pharaoh, the most powerful man in Egypt, has this super disturbing dream. He sees 7 big, healthy cows just devoured by 7 skinny, skeletal ones. And then he sees another vision. 7 beautiful, green ears of grain totally withered up by 7 dry, dead ones. It was his subconscious screaming a warning, using the only language it had, these powerful, symbolic images. And this is where Prophet Yusuf enters the story. See, he had this unique gift, a higher form of knowledge called ilm-i-nubuwwat. You could think of it as the ability to see the code behind reality, to translate the symbolic language of the universe into practical, real-world information. He looked at the dream and saw it crystal clear. Egypt was going to have 7 years of incredible abundance, followed by 7 years of a brutal, devastating famine. Now, knowing what's coming is one thing, but that interpretation created a whole new problem. I mean, can you imagine the logistical nightmare? How on earth do you store enough food to feed an entire nation for 7 straight years, while making sure it doesn't spoil for a total of 14 years? Your average grain silo would be useless against bugs, mold, and just time. Look, a problem this huge needed a solution that was just as mind-blowing. It couldn't just be a bigger box. It had to be something completely different. It required a structure that was built on a totally advanced understanding of energy, of physics, a structure that could literally fight off decay itself.
And here's the big reveal, the part that just blows your mind. This wisdom tells us that those special granaries were the pyramids. Those massive, mysterious structures that have fascinated us for centuries weren't built as tombs. They were sophisticated engines of preservation, built using prophetic knowledge to save an entire people from starvation.
So you're probably thinking, okay, how on earth did that actually work? This wasn't some kind of magic. It was a kind of science, a higher science based on understanding the unseen energies of the world. So let's break down the incredible idea of how these things actually worked. You know how everything eventually gets old, right? It breaks down, it decays. Well, you can think of that as it's slowly losing its life force, or what's sometimes called prana. It just radiates away over time. The pyramids, because of their precise shape and angles, were supposedly designed to do the opposite. They act like a lens, focusing the Earth's natural magnetic energy into a vortex that constantly recharges the life force of anything inside them, stopping decay in its track. And this isn't just some ancient theory. People have actually done experiments with little pyramid models, and the results are wild. They found that a dull razor blade placed inside will actually sharpen itself. A glass of milk won't go bad, it'll turn into yogurt. And of course, the most famous example of all is how incredibly well-preserved the mummies are after thousands of years. So, this incredible story of solving a problem that could have wiped out a nation, it's not just about ancient Egypt. It's actually a blueprint for you and me. It points directly to our own fundamental purpose here on Earth.
We hear this word Khalifa, and we often think it's some kind of grand royal title, but it's not.
It's a job description. Your job description. It means we are here to act as caretakers. And what does a good caretaker do? They fix things. They solve problems for the rest of creation.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. How often are we really doing that? So often we end up being problem creators, just making things more complicated for ourselves and everyone else. Or maybe a step up from that, we become problem shifters. We see a problem and our first instinct is, who can I hand this off to? But the real mission, the true role of a Khalifa, is to be a problem shooter. The good news is, you don't need superpowers to make that shift. You don't need prophetic knowledge. What you need is to build 3 very specific, very practical skills. First up, you have to assess. This is huge. You can't fix what you don't truly understand. It's about digging deep to find the real root cause, not just slapping a Band-Aid on the symptoms. Second, you have to decide. You need to come up with a clear, solid plan of attack. And third, and this is where a lot of people fall down, you gotta execute. An amazing plan is totally worthless if you don't have the skills or the guts to actually put it into action.
Okay, so this is all great in theory, right? We have this amazing purpose, we have a 3-step plan to get there, but what about right now? In the real world, how do we start to actually do this? How do we flip that switch inside ourselves?
It actually starts with something super simple but really powerful. The next time you have a problem that's just looping in your head, stop. That endless worrying, that's called ruminating, and it gets you absolutely nowhere. Instead, grab a piece of paper and write the problem down. Get it out of your head. Then, right below it, start brainstorming solutions, any solution, no matter how crazy. That simple act of shifting your focus from the problem to the solution is you stepping into your purpose.
And this, right here, is the most important thing to remember. This role of being a problem shooter, it's not just for prophets in ancient stories. It's the core reason you and I were designed. Every single time you solve a problem, whether it's fixing something broken, helping a friend figure something out, or finding a better way to do your job, you are actively practicing your khilafah. You are fulfilling your true purpose.
So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. You are literally built for this. Your mind, your hands, your spirit, they're all engineered for this one task. It's not a burden, it's your design. The only real question left is, what problem, big or small, are you going to start with? Thanks for joining this explainer.